Well, the big news this week is the decision by the United States Supreme Court to declare the Obama health care plan constitutional. A huge surprise to virtually everybody who was watching this situation. There was some hopes by the White House and some Democrats, but I think the money, if you had to bet, would say that it was going to be ruled unconstitutional, particularly when Justice Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, said he was going to write the opinion. We knew that several weeks ago. Roberts, being part of the Republican majority, the 5-4 split in the court, it was just felt based on his previous decisions, he would declare the law unconstitutional. He did adjust the law to some degree, and very surprisingly, he said that the individual mandate requiring people to buy insurance was not legal, but the taxing authority, in effect, did the very same thing. Congress does not have the right to require someone not to do something or to do something if they don't want to do it. That's under the Commerce Clause. But he went on to say in his opinion that Congress does have the authority to tax under our Constitution, and therefore how it came down was that if you don't buy insurance, if you're able to buy insurance, you're above the poverty line, and you're able to buy insurance and you don't do it, there's a penalty put on you. That penalty is in effect a tax, and as a consequence, that tax made the whole law constitutional. So interesting reverberations. Why Roberts felt this way. Apparently that was his belief. I think he also was concerned about the polarization of the court. You know, since Bush versus Gore back in 2000, when Al Gore got the majority of the votes in the election and Bush was declared the winner by the Supreme Court, then you came up to several recent decisions, probably the Citizens United case where corporations are considered individuals, can spend unlimited money on elections. A lot of people felt like there was a partisanship within the court. Every decision was going to be 5-4, Republicans on the majority, Democrats on the minority. And Roberts probably has cemented himself in history, whether you agree with the law or not, in saying that he was able to bridge the differences. He was able to find a compromise along that way. Now, what Roberts said was, if you read through his opinion, I read it, it was a very long opinion, he said that the court must assume that laws passed by Congress are constitutional. You go in with that assumption, you've got to find some reason to throw it out. And his inference was that the law may be constitutional, but that doesn't mean it's bad law. And if you don't like the law, then you should elect a different Congress. Throw your congressman out, throw your senator out, and vote for those who will take a different slant or go ahead and throw the law out altogether. Now, I see that Mitt Romney, the Republican candidate for president, has said he's going to immediately try to diffuse this matter by kicking out the law, and his first move as president, if he's elected, will be to take action to stop the law from being implemented. The box he's got himself into politically is that the very same plan that Obama was pushing is the plan that's in Massachusetts that Romney pushed when he was governor. You see, this whole mandated idea was really a Republican idea. This wasn't a Democratic idea. The Heritage Foundation, the Republican think tank, came up with the idea. It was immediately endorsed by Newt Gingrich as Speaker, Bob Dole as Majority Leader, a host of conservative Republicans. Barack Obama, surprisingly, opposed the idea when he was running for president. Then after he became president, he endorsed the idea. The Republicans then flip-flopped and went the other way. So you've got both sides taking a flip-flop, and that's going to make the whole issue very confusing. I'm not sure, quite frankly, when all is said and done, how big an issue it'll be in this presidential election. This is a major force in driving the economy. The Democrats are going to throw out the fact that the Congressional Budget Office is supposed to be neutral and independent, has said that if this plan is put into effect and it all works like it's supposed to, that 10 years down the line you'll see $1 trillion reduction in the federal deficit. There's a lot to be left uncertain there because in some instances in the law, certain things will put some inhibitions. Let me give you one example. Yes, you have to buy insurance unless you're below the poverty line if you don't already have insurance. But if you don't do it, there's no penalty. There's nothing to stop you from just doing it and not getting penalized. So how many millions of people will say, well, it's the law, but there's no enforcement to the law? You know, I guess if the IRS said, hey, Bill, you owe $2,000 in taxes, but we're not going to enforce you paying it. Would you pay you $2,000 in taxes? A lot of people would say no, they wouldn't do so. That's going to be a factor in what happens. So the whole issue moves into the presidential election. Romney's saying he will abolish Obamacare. The president will say, hey, it was your idea to begin with, and the Supreme Court, your Republican Supreme Court Chief Justice upheld it. It's going to get muddled, and I think even though there are huge economic implications to this law and the effect it'll have on our economy, the bottom line is that the overall economic drive, jobs, what we do to get the country moving again, is going to dominate the issue. And when all is said and done, this is not going to be that big of an issue. But we'll be talking a lot more about it. By the way, I wrote about this in the last 2 weeks on my website. Go to my website at www.jimbrownusa.com. You'll see my thoughts on health care, how confusing it is, and what the Republicans' options are for the future. We'll come back right after this message on The Common Sense Show.